Hey, John. Hey. Well, I've just opened it up right now, so we're coming on. I'm not sure what. Keep trying. See what you get.
I've got a recording.
All righty. Good morning, Lee. Good morning, Alicia. I don't know what's going on with you, John. Try again. So you're still getting that message?
No.
Yep. Let me try that too. Okay. Morning, everybody on the line. Glad you're here. Trying to get John on right now. Did anybody come through the Facebook link?
There I is. Okay.
Morning, Diane.
Why is it so dark in here? Oh, I hate that even worse.
Where are we getting there? Hold on. You there, John?
Yeah, I still can't get on.
Okay.
I tried both my computers.
All right. It's letting me in. I'm not sure what's going on. Morning, Alicia.
Good morning. How is everyone today?
I'm doing good. How's everybody else doing out there?
Hey, John. Hey, everybody. How are you?
Morning.
Morning, Lee. Hey, Masood. Did anybody click the link on Facebook to get in? Alicia,
I did.
you
I
did?
did.
No, I didn't.
Okay. John's having a hard time getting in. Not sure what's going on.
I had trouble with the Zoom notice, and I had to go to Zoom and enter in the ID and passcode to get in.
Okay. John, did you hear that?
No,
You might have to enter the ID and passcode to get in. Interesting. Alicia,
I've had that problem with a couple of Zooms I've hosted too recently.
okay. Alicia, did you just click and get in, or?
I always have to join by browser because I have an older laptop.
Okay. Well, some of us are getting on, John. Not sure what to say to you.
well, I'm trying to go in the other way right now. Let me see what happens.
See Diane on here. We'll get there maybe. Lee, thank you all for a great one the other night. That was very, very good.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. And you just gave us some good information and we got to know you guys and appreciate you serving us that way. Here comes Masood trying to get back in.
You know, Lila just closed on her first flip funding Thursday, so she's knee deep in it right now.
Okay. Yep, good. And John made it, good. Diane.
Yeah, I had to go the other way. I don't know what happened there.
Don't know either. And
Good morning, all.
good morning, Masood. We're having a few technical challenges here. We're a little after 9.
Yes,
We're on.
I didn't have voice.
There's Diane coming. Steve's coming.
Good morning.
Good morning. So, Diane, it's all yours. I'll keep trying to let people in here, and I don't see Claudette on yet to get the slides up, although I can draw them up myself.
Yeah, Zoom is a little slow this morning. It wasn't responding.
Morning, Diane.
Hey, John.
Oh, there's
How you
John.
doing? Good morning, Lisa.
Good morning.
Glad I'm able to get on here with everybody.
Yeah.
Lee, how you doing, Lee?
Good, John,
I'm
good.
doing
Good.
well.
Yeah.
Okay. Who is Galaxy Tab SSE?
That's DJ. I've said good morning a couple times. How are you today?
Who is it?
DJ Rivera.
Hi, DJ. How you doing?
Good. I thought it should say my name. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Sometimes.
But I kind of like the name Galaxy. I don't know about you.
Galaxy Rivera. Okay.
Yeah. Sounds like a flower child.
Yay.
Masood, I did not find the information that you had asked about, but maybe John will remember in Harlan. Harlan had that site that he used for rehabbing his house that gave approximate costs. Harlan, are you on?
Yes, I'm here.
Do you remember the name of that site that you used that you got good information from?
It's coming up as Who's is what I remember it. Let me just see if I can get it here.
Thank you.
I should have kept my notes, but I did not.
Houzz.
Houzz. Okay.
That's what I'm seeing. I'm pulling it up to see if it's there. Yeah.
Thank you.
House?
Got two
I
more.
thought it was something else.
Oh, yes. Yeah. It's a very good site. Yeah.
No, I thought it was a different one.
It might be a different one, Diane.
I wish I could find it. It was for more for contractors and getting pricing on different things.
Right.
Yes, as per the zip code.
It's house or it's like homes or house with a Z, isn't it? I
Yeah,
know the
Two
one you're
Z's,
talking about.
Houzz.
Yep, it's not exactly what I thought it was here, but that one works. Oh,
Yeah.
going. Claudette's on now, so we can get her to put the slides up for you, Diane.
Good morning, Claudette.
Good morning.
Morning, everyone. Sorry, I
morning.
was having
Can't see you, Claudette.
trouble with my Zoom thing.
He's in
What'd
the
you
chat.
say, Diane?
I said we
I
can't
can't
see you.
fix that. I don't know what's going on with my camera. Let me just
Your
put this up,
silhouette.
and then that way nobody has to look at me. Yeah. There we go. Now
Okay.
everyone can see me.
Okay. Okay, well, good morning, everybody. We're glad to have you here. This, as you know, is the West Volusia Repair Estimate Group. And today we have got John Veitch telling us about a work in progress that he has going on. This one has given you some surprises, right, John?
Oh, yeah. We got a few on this one. Yeah.
Okay, well, why don't you start telling us about it? Tell us a little bit about the house, first of all, and then how you came to buy it and kind of the
Okay.
backstory.
Okay. I came across this house actually back in the towards the end of February. It was actually driving for dollars on a deal machine deal. And then I followed it up 3 times with some letters in June and August. And then actually August, the day after I sent it out, the lady called me and told me she received the letter. And of course, in the letter, it says that we buy as is. So she was kind of curious what that really actually meant. And, try to explain to her that, we're here to help people that want to sell their home. And sometimes we buy pretty houses. Sometimes we buy houses that need a lot of TLC. And so we just buy it as is. So just a short conversation I had with her, I realized that she was a serious seller. She wanted to sell this house. So I made an appointment that afternoon and went right on over to see her. And then I follow the procedure that I learned from my good friend, Frank Hopkins. We had Frank on here a couple of weeks ago or a month ago. And, you know, as investors, we always kind of want to get in and see the house. You know, we want to see what we're up against, what we're looking to buy. But Frank's approach, which I really liked and I thought was good, is he actually, before actually going in and looking at the house, he actually wants to sit down with the potential sellers and just kind of get to know them. And so I followed that. She offered to show the house. I told her, I said, really, I'd like to first sit down and just to talk to you folks. And I think this really helps because it kind of breaks the ice, you want to say. It kind of lets them know that, hey, you're not in here, that's really still their house, that it gives them a confidence and trust that you're actually there to really help them. And I thought that was just so great that when Frank was telling us about that, so I tried it and I think it really worked out well. So anyway, this couple, after talking with them about 20, 30 minutes, I got to know them. They actually moved out of this house over a year ago. They're a senior couple. He is in his late 70s and she's probably her mid 60s. And the maintenance and upkeep of the house has just got to be too much for them. So they had already moved out of this house and moved into a retirement area, renting an apartment. And they thought, well, they would go ahead and fix this house up and sell it retail, but realized that it's just too much work. And so they wanted to go ahead and sell it. As you can see with some of the pictures, if you go to some of the slides, when we first saw this house, I mean, first it was kind of hard to even see there was a house there. The slides next to coming up, Claudette. There you go. If you take a look at the house, is actually just completely overgrown with shrubs, so it was kind of even hard to even see that there was a house back in there. But it just overwhelmed them, and so I explained to them, that I buy the house as is, and basically she was kind of fretting a little bit. Well, how did they move all their stuff out of there? What are they going to do with their stuff? And I explained to her, I said, listen, I said, you get a lot of nice stuff here. Take what you want. And I said, and then just close and lock the door behind you and don't worry about it. I'll take care of the rest of the stuff. We'll either find, we'll donate it or, we'll find a good home for her. So she was real pleased with that. In fact, it even turned out that she'd actually rented a warehouse and she packed up a lot of the stuff she did want to keep. And we actually sent some of our people over there with a trailer and actually loaded the trailer up and took the stuff to the warehouse for her. And they really appreciated that. Okay. So after talking with them and know that they really wanted to sell the house, then I went and took a tour of the house. It was, cluttered. I can't really say she's a hoarder. It's just that over the years, they've lived there for 30 years and they just collected a lot of stuff. She did a lot of traveling over Europe and they just collected a lot of stuff. And so I said, don't worry about it. Just leave it like it is and take what you want. Okay. So we got down to talking about the structuring a deal, and I sitting there talking with them. I find out that, like I said, they had actually already moved out of the house. The house was paid for. There's no mortgage on the house. They were financially set. They really didn't need the money. They just wanted to get rid of the responsibility, I guess, for the house and kind of move on with their next stage of life. So I explained to them that I could do couple different offers, and one would be kind of all cash, and the other would be some type of financing, and they would be open to that. And they said, well, yeah, they would be interested in seeing it. So I came back the next day, made an appointment the next morning, came back with our standard, 3 offers. One was cash. And then the last one was financing. And So I explained it to them. I said, listen, I said, think about it, talk amongst yourselves, and see which would work out best for you. And let's get back together, say tomorrow morning. And so I did. And so I went back the next morning, and they were really interested in the owner financing because that really paid them the most. And so we actually worked out actually 115% owner financing. And I'll explain that in a minute.
115?
Yeah,
Or 50?
not just 100. We actually wound up, as this turned out, we actually wound up with about 115% owner financing.
15%.
So what happened is they agreed to the financing on it, and so I went ahead and got a contract. And again, they wanted to, run it by their attorney, and I told them that's fine. I really suggested they do if they're concerned, and but convinced them to let's go ahead and do the contract, and we put a clause in there that they had 72 hours to review it with their attorney, and if the attorney found something that he didn't like or wasn't legal or something, wanted to question it, then we can take a look at the contract. But I did ask them, by talking to their attorney, I mean, is your attorney going to make the decision to buy the house? I mean, to sell it, or are they just asking for legal advice for the contract? And they said, no, they're going to make the decision. So we went ahead and did the contract. I went back. Actually, 2 days later, they called me back up. I went back out the next day, and they said, that's fine. Let's go ahead with it. So after we got another contract, we went ahead and did an inspection. And we did an inspection on it, and with my buddy Andrew, and then he saw a few items that already knew. My first strategy on this thing was if I was to flip it, and if I could buy it low, we were looking at probably $40,000 to $50,000 rehab, because we'd be looking at a roof, windows, floors, new service, and put central air in it. But the fact that I got the owner financing on it, our strategy changed to we're going to hold it for a rental. So we elected not to do the roof, because the roof is 15 years old. It's not leaking or anything. You're just, towards the end of its life. The windows, they're okay. They're just old. They're jalousie windows. And then the floor in this house is really pretty. It's this solid oak parquet floor. But of course, they just don't sell nowadays. So if we were flip it, we would probably go in there with a vinyl planking. So that cut our rehab cost down to about $20,000. And but we had some things that came up with the inspection. Like I said, I already knew I was going to have to do the new service and also central air. But I had another plumber come in, actually expectigator come in and run a camera down the septic, and we found out that the cast iron pipe under the house, about halfway from the bathroom to outside to the toilet set, was broke. And so that meant that we're going to have to cut the floor up. And then we also realized that did a perk test, and the thing wasn't perking. We had the septic tank pump, and then they refilled it, and it's not perking. So now we know we got to do a drain fill and probably a new septic tank.
Let me stop you right there.
Okay.
Let's talk about, first, let's go back to the cast iron pipes. Were they cast iron in the house as well as outside, or had they been replaced?
No, they were cast iron all the way.
Did you have to repipe the house inside?
No. What we did is that when they ran the camera down, Diane, actually this picture right here that you see on the right side of the picture is a wall where the bedroom's at.
Okay.
The left side is going actually outside, and that's where the septic tank is. Well, the break in the cast iron was right alongside that wall on the right-hand side. The rest of the pipe was fine.
Okay.
That's where the break was at. So we
Okay.
knew we were going to have to replace some of it. And so this is an additional cost over and above what we thought we were going to have. And so what I did is I went back to the seller and explained to him and told him that we found some discovery here that we didn't expect. And of course, with conversations with them, they were telling me everything was fine. They had no idea that, you know, the thing wasn't, the drain field was shot. And so I explained this to them and what this cost was going to be. I told them I still want to buy the house, but, you know, I can't absorb these additional costs. So they actually agreed to go ahead and pay $15,000 towards these costs. And so that's where I said I got 115% owner financing. So they were going to absorb these additional costs to do the cast iron and put in a new septic tank system. Okay.
Could you talk a little bit about when you redo a drain field, you know, the distance that you had to go, and you did soil percolation tests, obviously, and
we did.
so was that a $15,000 number for this job?
Well, what they do is they'll do a perk test, and they do is they'll go ahead and pump the septic tank, which is always a good idea to have done before you close the deal anyway.
Right.
You have it done, and then what they do is then they backfill it again, and then they see if it's going to perk. In other words, it's moving. And in this case, there was absolutely no movement of the fluid in the tank. So that tells them that the drain field is shot. Okay. Now the fact that it is an older tank, and their concern is now, is the tank got any cracks or is it bad? So basically, when we got down to it, they have to actually empty the tank out and actually inspect the tank. Fortunately, in our case, when the plumbers got out there to do this new drain field and everything, they checked the tank and that tank was actually okay. So we wound up, we didn't actually have to replace the tank. That saved us about $2,000. The whole thing, the septic system, the tank, and just cutting the floor up was a little over $7,000. And so if you go back to that other picture, Claudette, no, back one more. Okay, that one right there. Click on that. Back, there you go. Right. That's where we actually had to cut the floor up in the house. And so if you see the big square, okay, to the top left corner of that big square, you can actually see, come back a little bit with your arrow, come back just a little bit, come on back, go over to the pipe, up to the corner there.
Oh.
That's good. Okay. Anyway, you move it all over. But anyway, if you look at where the big square is at, on the top left corner of that is actually the clean out. And that was actually the original house, is where they had the clean out. But when they added that back porch on, they actually just poured that slab over that. And so they have a clean out, and then they have a big knuckle there. And then that's where the rest of the cast iron was broke. So the rest of the cast iron all the way back to the rest of the bathroom was okay. Didn't have any cracks in or anything. So we left that. So they had to replace the pipe from there on out to the septic tank. And then of course, once we got outside the house, then we put another clean out outside there. Okay, Diane?
And they figure this, as I understand, on the number of bedrooms in the house. Is that correct?
Yeah,
and the
actually,
distance to the street.
Yeah, they go to the size of the drain fields are always based on the bedrooms and the bathrooms.
Mm-hmm.
How many baths, how many bedrooms? In our case, the fact that we are going to do a rental, they would normally have just put three pipes out in the drain field. If you come back down, one more picture, Claudette? No, up one. Right there. Okay, now, there you go. Now there's actually the drain field. And you can actually, it's hard to see because they put a cover over it before they do the dirt. But they actually have the one bridge, and then they have 5 feeders going out. Normally they only do 3. But the fact that this is going to be a rental, okay, I always, if I put that in, I always put a heavy duty drain field in. So in this case, they actually put 5 fingers there versus the 3 fingers that would be required.
Okay.
But once they get to this point here, you know, dig that in there, the additional cost to put 2 extra fingers is a couple $100, you know. So you might as well, if you're going to do this and it's a rental, go ahead and put in the heavy duty drain field.
Yeah. Well,
Now we did check before we did this. We did check with the city to see whether the city septic was there, because we're on city water, and but there wasn't anybody within 2 blocks of this house that actually was on city septic. So so that's why we like to just go ahead and do our own drain field.
So that was better than hooking up to the city plumbing, right?
Well, actually, it would be in most cases, it's actually cheaper to hook up to the city if it's available. Right. You know,
right?
Now, of course, you got that extra monthly bill every month. You know, but it's you don't ever have to worry about your drain fields anymore. You know.
Mm-hmm.
But in this case, the city sewer wasn't available, you know, so that's why we elected. But the hookup to the city, you're probably looking at maybe $2,500, you know, versus 7,000 or 8,000, you know. Now, we lucked out here where when they checked the septic tank, it was okay. And so that saved us $2,000. You know, this.
Right. Okay.
So we did have to put the septic in, and then we actually because this house didn't have any AC, it had a couple window units. Okay, here you can see there. That's where the new clean out is, and actually going into the septic tank. Okay, where we actually moved it out from underneath the slab. This house had a couple window units in it, and so we knew, you know, especially if we're going to use it for a long-term rental, you know, we got to put central on it. So and then to put the central in, we have to redo the electric because there was only 60 amps coming into this, and so we went ahead and kicked the amperage up to 160, and then put the AC central AC in it. Okay.
But you didn't have to rewire the house.
Yeah, well, we didn't totally rewire the house. It is there's a couple of pictures. You probably have to go back a little bit more of the electric. The panel, outside panel of this house was Zinco. Okay. Now we all know Zinco is no good. Okay. Now this panel right here was in the kitchen. Okay. And those are the round fuses. You know, this house built back in 1951. That's what they used. And so we actually had to take that out and we had to rewire all that back to the main panel because this is the new panel that they're putting in. And then you can see the yellow cables coming down. That's all the new wiring from the other panel coming over there. But we knew that going in, I was going to have to redo the electric. And so that ran me about $3,000. Yeah. But that's the panel. That's the Zinco panel. And Zincos, they're no good. The problem with the Zincos, one of the insurance companies don't like them because what's happened with the Zincos over the years, instead of the breakers tripping, they just melt down. And when they melt down, of course, then it's a fire hazard. Okay. So anytime that you run into a house that's got a Zinco panel on it, you need to get it out of there. Now, of course, she had insurance from way back and kept the carrier. But if she was to get new insurance on this house, the insurance people would kick back and probably not insure you with that Zinco in there.
Right.
That's it. If you looked at the original specs on this house, the original house is actually 960 square feet. But they actually closed in that screen porch where we had to cut the floor up. They actually closed that in, okay? Because they had a window unit out there, but that was 400 square feet. And then they had a double car garage here that they actually closed in as well. They had a window unit there. That's another 480 square feet.
Was that garage attached, John?
Yes, it is attached to the house. Now,
okay. I couldn't tell in the pictures.
Yeah, actually, one of the pictures you can actually see another shed. They got
That's what I was looking at. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
they
it
got
had air conditioning.
A 12 by 20 shed in there, and it was even hard to see. There was even a shed back there because it was overgrown so much. And but they'd actually had that shed put in there 4 years ago. So I mean, it was like a brand new shed, you know. But you can see.
Yeah, that one.
Okay, that click on that one right there, Claudette. I think that's the back of the house, actually, right there. This was the driveway coming in, and you can see where they actually closed in where the double car garage was there. Okay.
Okay.
That was actually closed in when they bought the house. All right. But you can see how that's all overgrown. See, that's actually the driveway to drive into the garage there is all overgrown so bad.
I see.
But then come down to the next one there, Claudette.
Okay.
Okay,
So with the new air conditioning, are you still keeping a window unit in the garage, or is it central?
No, we put it under air. You can't see the shed there either, but if you look, it's hard to say where you that on the right side where you got that trash barrel. Behind there is a shed.
Okay.
Come down one more, Claudette. You might be able to see it. On that one there. No, you can't see it there either. But anyway, well, yeah, you can actually a little bit up in the top left corner. You can actually see part of the shed there. Of course, now we've cleared all that. Yeah. We've cleared all that out. Okay. But now you click on down a little bit more, Claudette. You can see how the inside of the house. I mean, they just click on those right there. They left everything there, which we told them to. Wow. And so we had to come in there and clean all that stuff out. And they had some nice stuff in there, but they didn't have any place to put it where their apartment, you know, where they moved. And but she packed up a lot of the crystal stuff there, the glasswares and stuff like that. And like I said, I sent two of my guys over there with a closed-in trailer, and we packed all the boxes and took them to the warehouse for her. She really appreciated that. So they're really a sweet couple. They just want to move on the next chapter in their life and not have to worry about this. And so
Can't say I blame them.
I think sitting down with them for 30 minutes instead of just going in and looking at the house, like Frank suggested we did, I sat down for 30 minutes. I think that built a lot of trust, a lot of confidence that they realized that I was there to try to help them, whether I bought a house or not. I really wanted to try to help them. And so when we got to owner financing, I really didn't have a struggle with it. You know, they didn't have a lot of questions. You know, of course, I answer a lot of my questions before they even ask them. You know, what happens? How can they be assured the payments are made? What happens if the payments aren't made? You know, these kind of things. You know, just go ahead and offer that. You know, and but I think we built a real rapport with them, and so, and we went to closing, and everything went really smooth with it. You know?
Good. So are you donating this stuff, or what did you do with it?
Most of what we did, the furniture we did. I had a used furniture company. I just drove around there in Orange City and DeLand and stopped at a couple of different used furniture dealers and asked them if they bought it. And they came in and took all the furniture. Okay. They gave me $200 for the furniture. Now, you say, well, $200 is probably worth a lot more than that. Well, you got to look at it this way. If I had to get a crew in there and get a dumpster in there, it would have cost me $1,000, you know? And so I got somebody give me $200 and came in and moved it all out of there, you know? So sometimes you got to look beyond the trees, you know?
Yeah.
And so that saved us a lot. And then a lot of the knickknacks and things we donated. All the clothes we donated. We packed all those up in a box. There's actually 3 big boxes, and we donated those. And so very little of this stuff we actually took to the dump. We're actually find somebody to take it and donate it.
Good.
The next picture, Claudette, that's the bathroom. We're going to have that glaze. It's hard to see, but that's yellow, canary yellow, and a pink trim. And and I told the seller that we would come in there and glaze that white, look like brand new tiles. Oh, you don't like yellow? I said, no, not really. Yeah. But anyway, once Jose's coming in next week to glaze that, it'll look like a brand new tile and tub when he gets done with it. Yeah. So, but by putting in, they, like I said, they mentioned earlier, they closed in the screen porch in the garage. So that actually adds another 880 square feet to that 960 because it's all under air now. We put a 4-ton unit in there and we put everything under air. We had to reduct it or actually had to duct it. There was no duct there. So they duct the whole house, put the entire house under air. And so I'm not sure how you go about, getting the things changed in the city. I guess I'll find out. But the garage was closed in. Now, they did have a permit for the screen porch. Closed that in. That was permitted, but I couldn't find a permit on the garage. But we got to get that somehow changed on the county records. I'll have to find somebody to give me a hand how I do that. But right now, my intent is to just go ahead and rent it.
Okay. I did have a question about the air conditioning on the outside of the house. Claudette, if you'll scroll down a little bit to where the compressor is on the outside. And there's a metal, looks like it's a metal shaft.
Yeah, well,
it runs up the wall. Is that hiding the cables from the air conditioner?
No, actually, the unit, the inside unit is actually up in the attic right there.
Okay.
That's right at the end of the garage. And so in the garage, there was one of these pull down ladders.
Right.
And so that's where they put the unit up there.
So you're okay.
And so the line, the freezer line or whatever it is coming down, they usually insulate it. And what they do is they put that metal flashing over it to hide it. The electrical is to the left of to the right of that.
Okay.
I
haven't seen one done quite that way, but it's an
well,
older
I run
house,
into a number of them here lately that they put the units up in the attic. And I guess
I had a 2-story house where there was one in the attic, but it was a newer build and they didn't, the ductwork was in place. So
yeah, well, they put all new ductwork. They put all new ductwork in here, and so they put the unit actually up in the attic, and then that's where they have the big lines coming down to the compressor outside.
Okay.
Once we paint that, you won't even see it. We'll go ahead and paint over that metal flashing.
Yeah. Good. Okay. Since you're renting it, I assume that you're not going to make any floor plan changes. Is that correct?
We're not doing anything right now. Right now, my strategy is to go ahead and rent it for about 4 years. Okay. and then maybe find somebody to do an option purchase. But my note on it with the seller is 10 years. So 4 years, 5 years, the note's half paid because 100% of that is actually going to the principal. Okay, so it's going to be half paid down, and the way that we're structured, the note has got a balloon of $5,000. Okay, so at the end of 10 years, this house will be pretty much paid for. So if I go ahead and rent it for 4 or 5 years, the tenants are going to pay the mortgage down at least half.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I mean, right now, if we were to go ahead and flip the house, I would wind up bidding in $40,000, $50,000. Like I said, would have to do a roof, or windows, put all new floors in. We would still, even if we did that, we would still probably have about $30,000, $35,000 of equity in the house.
Okay.
So
what would, if you were to sell this house right now, which you're not, what would you expect it to sell at?
about 165.
165.
Mm-hmm.
And you paid what?
What I paid for it?
Yeah.
70.
70.
Yeah.
Okay. And how much are you going to rent it for?
13 or 13.50. I looked at the rents in this area, or their average is about 1,150, 1,200. The highest in the area, and that's like 3 houses down the block, is going for 1,700. Okay. So I figured, we're going to go ahead and try about 13.50, 14, somewhere around that area with it.
Okay. And you said you're going to keep the jalousie windows for now?
For right now, we're going to keep the jalousie windows. I actually went online, and they actually have it's like a nylon trim, but it's not nylon, but it's like a vinyl trim that you put on the end of the window. You snap it on the end of the window, and so when you close the windows, it seals it.
Ah.
Okay.
Very good.
And originally what we were thinking about is there's actually a film that you can put on these windows. They use it up north a lot, where they actually seal the windows. And what we were going to do is put that on the screen and then put the screen on. And then I found this other vinyl trim. And they actually have that on the windows to begin with. It's old, but they actually have that vinyl trim on there. And you put that on there and it seals it up pretty good.
And will that remove the need for those corrugated metal storm shutters?
Well, we took all the storm shutters off. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. I mean, they you can see the storm shutter there.
Yeah.
They put those under, excuse me, a year ago in a hurricane, and they just never took them back off, But I mean, those things aren't cheap.
No.
And but they had this entire house fitted with those storm shutters.
Mm.
Wow.
Wow.
And so, I mean, yeah, we took them all off. They're all numbered and everything. And we just took them all off, and we'll put them back in the shed. But asking about the floor plan, there is, when you walk in that front door, to the left, the front door is a cedar closet. Okay. But there is a kind of a wall. When you walk in the front door, you run right into a wall. And to change the floor plan, I'll take that out. And then actually going into the kitchen, I'll take out part of the wall going into the kitchen and just open that whole area.
You're doing that now?
No, I'm not going to do that
later.
now. I'll do that when we get ready to sell it.
Later.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
what
right now,
are you doing anything to the kitchen?
Same with the kitchen. I mean, those cabinets are solid. I mean, they are solid wood, but they have the wood grain from Icon on them, but they're in great shape. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to change all the handles out, And
they can be painted. Did you know that?
Yeah, but I mean, for a rental right now, I figured on just leaving them,
Okay,
I don't think it's gonna hurt. Now, we will put a new stove and refrigerator in there,
okay,
This house originally was hooked to a gas, and they converted it over some time ago to electric. In fact, the hot water heater is only 2 years old. They changed out from gas to electric hot water heater. And actually, if you're looking at that picture there, the bottom left-hand corner, just below that doorknob on that door,
yeah,
that's actually a heater.
okay,
It's an electric heater, but it's actually a heater. And then in the other rooms, they have the heaters that run down along the baseboards,
mm,
And of course, we took all those out, But the cabinets, like I said, the cabinets are good and solid. And so, yeah, I thought about painting them, and I thought, well, they look okay. I'm just going to change out the handles and put like the stainless steel bar handles on it.
yeah,
And so that'll look good for a rental, I mean, that's really all you need,
okay. So, and what about the outside, John? What did it cost you to clean out the yard?
Well, my partner is out there doing a lot of that. Okay. And we actually had that price anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000. So he's out there cleaning a lot of that up himself. And what happened is they originally, when they bought this house years ago, it was just a lot of trees in there, and they had them cut down. So there's a lot of stumps around there. Well, the plumbing people had an excavator, I guess, that they rent and brought it in there.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't come to the job site for 2 days. So we put that excavator to use. We took out 90% of the stumps.
Ah,
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
And
so Diane, let's see if there are questions from the folks that are on the call here. We got about 15 more minutes on our call. So
Mm-hmm.
anybody just unmute and jump in.
I do have one more before we go to the chat. What are you going to spend now on rehab? What's your total expenditure?
our total expenditure is probably going to be just under 20,000.
Still under 20. Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be about 20,000 because we had the AC, they had the plumbing work or the septic tank work. We had the electrical work, paint inside and out. So yeah, we're still going to come in with a budget of just under 20,000.
Nice.
So you actually got a lot done for 20,000.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Who has questions?
I have one.
Masood?
Yes. John, I missed this part. You said that did you hire the individual plumbing and piping inspector, or no? You used the.
No. We used a minute. It's the plumbing and everything. It's a new outfit. Well, I say new. They're about 2 years old, 2.5 years old. They're in Longwood. Logical Plumbing. And they would come in there. They cut that floor up that you saw. They ran all those pipes. They had the drain field, and they actually included a septic tank in that for a little over 7,000. Okay. Now it turns out we don't have to do the septic tank, so that's going to save us about $2,000. So all that plumbing work costs us about $5,000. But it's a company I've never used them before. I did go on and did some research. They've got all good reviews, but they I forget when they started. They started in, I think 2018 is when they started. And they actually did a good job. The only thing that is, because they are a new company and they're extremely busy right now, is I think they're cutting their people too short. Because the two guys that were working here, they work here about 4 hours, they take off and go to another job for a couple hours, and then they come back here either later in the morning. So we really didn't have anybody just come to the job and stay on the job until they got it done,
Mm-hmm.
But they did finish this up Thursday. I did not go to job site yesterday, so I don't know whether the inspector actually came by yesterday or not to inspect it. But they're going to come back Monday and fill all the holes in, and then redo the concrete. And then the
Thank you.
electrical company, all the people I use are all licensed people. They all have the puller permits. But the electric company is he's actually an individual that's kind of semi-retired. He's in the DeLand area, and he did all the electric work for us for $3,000. And like I said, they pull permits. He got his permit signed off Friday. He was all signed off. And then the AC is a small AC company. I think he's got 4 or 5 employees. I've been using them for years, and he's actually located in DeLand. And but he does an excellent job. And both the electrical and AC people were very dependable. They said when they told us when they were going to be out there, they were there. They stayed there until they finished the work, you know. And so they both did a good job for us. But I typically try to stay away from big companies because you're just paying for a lot of extra overhead, you know. And so stay with the smaller companies. But I do require insurance, and they have to have get permits, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Okay, well, this is going to be, we're going to have a replay of this when you finish this house.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be gorgeous when we get done with it. It's but you know, paint does such wonders, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
but the inside
And it brings so much equity.
Mhm.
The inside, like I said, it has the Parkwood square Parkwood floors. I mean, and they're nice and shiny. All the baseboards are all wood, you know, like stained wood. They're not painted. The door trims is all wood. I mean, it's really beautiful inside. You know, this is that picture right there is actually the garage. Now that's one of the bedrooms. You know, and amazing those lace curtains.
Sorry, just a second.
My wife washed all those, and they came out like brand new.
John, I have a question. Is somebody's college certificate? This one right here.
Yeah, actually, he was in the Rotary Club, and he was in a bowling club. So a lot of those things there that they left behind, certificates, or if we run into pictures, we always take those back to the seller. Anything like that, trophies or certificates or pictures, and so we always take them. They always appreciate that. You know?
Where would you like me to go now, John?
I guess, Diane, I guess that's pretty much it. Is there any other questions we have?
Okay, so
there's one in the chat box, Diane. They're just saying great job.
Finish up.
Yeah, great job, John, and thank you, Lee.
From the city. Yeah.
Yeah, we always enjoy doing this, and like I said, you know, these meetings are so great. You know, we have these and we have guests on them. You know, just like I said, you know, my first approach to this with these sellers was something that I learned from Frank Hopkins. So we always, no matter how long you've been doing this, you always learn something new. And I was really impressed when Frank said that, you know, he takes the time first to get to know the sellers, not go in there and just look at the house. He wants to sit down and get to know them. And I think it really helps. And I know it did in this. I mean, it actually put these sellers at ease where they realized I was there to try to really help them, not just to take their house, you know? And so I thank Frank for that. And, but that just show you, I mean, you always learn something new in these calls, you know?
So
Hey, John,
true. Go ahead, Claudette.
It's
That
Alicia.
wasn't me.
if I can ask, how does that conversation go, John? How did you start that off?
Well, I just, you know, when I go in, I introduce myself, and they introduce themselves, and then I kind of ask them, you know, you try to get to know them where you kind of look around and see some of the things in the house. Like she had a lot of stuff that was obviously it was Dutch, you know, and when we sat down in the kitchen, there was a lot of these bowls and crystal stuff that's actually white, blue on it. It's like Dutch. And so I started to ask her about that. And then she's from Holland. And then you talk to them, what did she do when she came over to the country? And then what did he do? How did they meet? You know, and it just, you find something to start a conversation and just kind of get to know them. And it sets them at ease, you know, and then once you get to know them and is, you know, why do you want to sell the house? And, you know, and, well, that's great. You're moving on to the next new chapter of your life. That's really great. You know, and you see if you can try to help them do that. And I could see that she was really stressed out about this house. You know, they were going to try to rehab it themselves, and then they decided not to do that. And then she was stressed. What is she going to do with all this stuff? So you kind of set them at ease. Don't worry about it. You know, we'll take care of all that for you. You know, you just take what you want and then leave the rest of it. We'll find a good home for it. We won't trash it. We'll find a good home for it. And so it's just how you do it, you know?
I could see if I were a homeowner living with that kind of clutter around me, I could see them being very concerned about having somebody walk in and take a look at that and looking down at them for having to living in that kind of a mess, you know.
Yeah,
and you didn't do that. You got to them and what they really were about.
Yeah, because that would be the feeling that they would get if you just went in, well, show me the house, you know?
Right.
But, you know, instead, like I said, and Frank, when he told us that, it just you know, like a light bulb went off. I mean, that just makes so much sense. And so I did it. And I could see them really easing up, and she's getting rid of the stress. I said, don't worry about this mess. I've been in worse, a whole lot worse than this. I said, you know, you need to just move on with your life. The biggest thing they had in this house was books. My God, they had books and books and books and books.
Wow.
And a lot of them are American history books, you know, and unfortunately the libraries don't take this stuff anymore. So we did find a shop that actually takes books. And so we were able to donate the books, but there was a lot of books. Yeah. But it's a real sweet, I mean, they're really a nice couple.
Yeah, well, and you made a very, very important point this morning by the way you acquired it, not just what you're doing, but the way you acquired it with keeping in mind.
Yep, and we learned, John, that people will do seller financing. A lot of people say, who would want to do that? And this couple did. It met their needs, and you provided them that option.
Yeah.
Let's look to our November, Diane, here. We've got a good Monday night in November coming up, and look at that as we get ready to wrap up this morning.
The next Monday meeting is going to be Andrew Braun, right? ARB inspections, the main meeting, right, Claudette?
Yes, it is. And
yeah, and then
it was a good segue with John that he used in for this house.
And the repair estimate meeting is tentatively, Lila, that you met with Lee Walsh at the last Monday night meeting. doing her first flip.
Yep, and
So we've got things. So John, we're looking forward to seeing the finished product of this as well.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And we'll have some nice landscaping out there when we get done, you know?
Good.
Yeah.
and Diane, just for your interest here, I'm in the kitchen of our home that we came to do a rehab a while back. So
Oh, that's
we actually passed
beautiful.
our
That's
inspection
gorgeous.
on Thursday, and we're moving in this weekend, so
Wonderful. And
Wonderful.
happy birthday to Barbara.
yes.
Happy,
She got her birthday present.
Yes. John,
Good.
way to go. Diane, good interviewing there. Good questions around. Glad everybody else was on. So we're gonna wrap it up here in just a minute. Anything else, Diane?
Okay. Well, thank you all for coming, and thank you, John. This is a great project and a really good discussion.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity
Yeah.
to share it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank
It
you,
was fun,
John. That
Thank
was
you.
great.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
See you, Mr. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Take care, everybody.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you,
You
John.
as
See you.
well.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.